Thanks for joining us for CBS 19 Plus. And today we're going to start with some themes that I've been trying to do these last couple of days because our time together, I thought let's just show you some different things about the weather that maybe you haven't seen or maybe you just haven't even thought about. So today's theme, we're going to talk about the dryness of it all, how dry it's been, how dry it will be, and the effects that the air being dry and our ground being dry has on us. So I thought I'd start by just showing you that I'm not telling you lies. I'm not telling you stories. It's going to be dry over the next 7 days. We're not going to see any rain over in our area. Now, look, I say that, and then next thing you know, a storm wants to pop up out of nowhere. But there is a chance right now, a strong possibility we're not going to see any rain over the next 7 days because of this pattern that we're in. It's a very dry pattern with high pressures that are just causing a bunch of warming down and sinking of air on the surface. And when we're talking about we want a storm to form, we need some lifting. We need rising to occur in the atmosphere to get us some storms. So all my weather nerds out there, you're really going to enjoy the CBS 19 Plus today because I'm just going to just nerd out with you guys, right? So right now, over the next couple of days, rainfall outlook, no rain at all. Now, there are some counties down in further south, further southern in our state that are going to see some rain. And when we talk about sea breeze, everyone thinks that this just affects coastal areas like Florida. But those down to the south, they do see some effects because of sea breeze, and that's just basically how you get those storms. You have warm air from the land and you have cold air from the water, and they kind of mesh together. So once they converge, warm air rises, cold air sinks, you get a lifting, and then you get a storm. So that's how they get those storms. Typically, they don't last for too long. They fizzle right out, but that's why they're seeing storms. Not us. We're not really seeing much of those sea breeze storms over here. So not at all, actually. But before we talk about how this affects us, how the dryness and everything about it, the dryness of it all, we got to look at these low temperatures because this is something that Brett, our chief meteorologist, and I were talking about this morning about how the air in the morning has not been really muggy. It's actually been really nice, very comfortable when we're going outside late at night too. And Brett's going on his morning bike rides. It's been comfortable. We're staying just around this mid 70s. Some of us, Henderson, seeing 78. But for the most part, it's a very comfortable air temperature that we are seeing, and that's because our air is dry. We're not seeing very humid air and saturated air. So when we see saturated air, it gives us very stuffy feelings outside. But when we have a bit of drier air, well, then we see those nice, mild, comfortable temperatures. Makes us just want to go out on the patio at night and just sit and talk and have maybe just a glass of whatever you choose to drink. So overall, the next 10-day trend, because I know I've been showing you the high temperatures for the next 10 days. I wanted to show you the low ones too. Got to shine a light on them, show some love to the low temperatures right now because we're staying just right above the mid 70s. And then only going into next week, this is how we know, okay, humidity is starting to pick back up. Our relative humidity is going to pick back up because look at that. Then we start to bump up those temperatures. So we don't get really cool at night. We actually kind of stay stuffy, and then it just heats up from there. So we will take these comfortable days that we're seeing, and remember, the drier the air, the faster it heats up. So we see that. And then we see very high triple-digit temperatures. So as we're going through these next couple of days, it's only going to heat up, but we're not going to cool down also. So we'll take it right now. Humidity day by day. Well, again, like I was saying, this week we're staying very comfortable because the air has dried out just a bit. And then as we go into next week, you saw how the low temperatures started to bump up a bit. Well, look at that. It's feeling more humid next week. So I just wanted to show you the correlation between those two things and how they relate to each other. And that's why we start to see those stuffier nights and stuffier mornings that make us feel like we just need to go back inside and just take a shower, honestly. But here's that drought index. Now, the updated drought index comes just around Thursday. So we'll have an updated one that I'll show you on tomorrow. But just before we did that, because the theme is how dry it is and everything, I wanted to show you this and just show you how it's starting to expand. Drought's starting to expand just a bit, and it's something to almost relate to because we have those burn bans in effect. So just to show you how those are comparing, well, we see, okay, look at that. It's getting a lot more dry down there. Drought starting to expand, especially as you go further east and even further west. It's way worse out there. Well, then we have those burn bans in effect because of how dry it has been. So now we have a forecast fire danger that is also increasing. Our ratings have increased where you see just up in the north, just clipping us over in the northeast. There's Jefferson right around there and Mount Pleasant. They have that low rating, but for the rest of us, starting to increase. You see over in Center, maybe even down just east of Lufkin and Crockett, they have those pockets of the very high rating and then high just for deep East Texas and moderate for us. So we're starting to see an elevated forecast fire risk danger, and that's why I wanted to also remind you about the burn bans in place. Dry. You get the theme that's going on because when we have those burn bans, see how they correlate with that forecast fire danger, we have an elevated risk of wildfire danger and an elevated risk of poor air quality. So those two things and the dryness of the air is why they put out legal outdoor restrictions of any burning of any kind. So make sure you're watching that if you're trying to do any type of, I know we all heard about the gender reveal thing. So make sure we're just really keeping our eye on those things, monitoring, because again, the ground is a lot drier than we have seen for the last couple of days. All right. Another thing we got to talk about when it comes to dry, well, we have to talk about dry air and even the Saharan dust layer that's coming over here. We have a lighter pocket that's moving our way, so it's not crazy heavy pocket that we have seen. We could see the dust particles kind of really just moving everywhere and us getting some of those beautiful sunsets that we have seen and sunrises, but not as much as we've seen the last couple of weeks. So remember that the fine particles, they're lofted in dry air, dry high heat areas. They're most often occurring in late summer, like we're talking about right now. It can suppress tropical development, which I'm going to go just into that just a little bit more. And then again, my fact that I just love hearing supports biodiversity of the Atlantic Ocean and Amazon rainforest, and it's transporting unique nutrients. Look at that. We just learn something new every single day. So there's that lighter Saharan dust layer. It's still there, and it'll make its way to us just around Saturday. How that suppresses tropical development? Well, you see, there's some tropical systems and disturbances that are happening right now, which this yellow area is just a 20% chance of development. There's another system that we're watching that can be forecasted to start to develop over next week and really look like it could become something. And it makes sense because this Saharan dust layer that we have, it doesn't look like a heavier pocket's coming behind it. So because of that, those hurricanes, they need warm waters, which we all know the waters have been very, very warm. I know you've seen it all over the news, and they need some moisture in the atmosphere, and they may just get it. So keep an eye on that if you are going on vacation or maybe just heading to see some family over in Florida and kind of want to cool off, maybe go to the beach. I may be there too. I may join you. So look at that 10-day forecast just to summarize it all up. We see those triple digits. We get a slight chance for some relief on Friday, and then only triple digits from here on out. We may see a slight chance for some rain on Saturday of next week, and that's a small chance there. Hopefully we can see some changes in the weather pattern, but for right now, we're in triple digit land and we're here to stay. So thanks for joining us for CBS 19 Plus, and again, stay cool out there.